Alright guys, so today we're going to be playing with two of the most widely known sequencer boards that I think most people are aware of, and that would be the Ghozt lighting sequencer as well as the CorsoMotion sequencer. They're both very different, they're both very similar, and they both have their own, I guess, unique pros and cons. So we'll go over both these boards and show what they can do, how they do them differently, and yeah, let's do it. Alright, so let's talk about what they share in common. So they're both made specifically to sequence LEDs. They are made specifically for 12 volt LEDs, so you can't just hook up, 3.4 volt or 2.4 or 2.8 volt. Other lower voltage LED chips that we've went over previously. They have to be LEDs or circuits that run specifically on 12 volts. So the Ghozt lighting board has 28 channels, meaning you can hook up theoretically 28 different outputs or LEDs. The CorsoMotion here does not have 28, so they have, I actually don't even remember, 1, 2, maybe 20, 14. They got 14 outputs, so half as many outputs, but the CorsoMotion board is also a fraction of the price. So, knowing that, what else do they share in common? They're marketed specifically to be used in the automotive industry. So, basically what that means is your inputs. You have a turn signal input, you have a brake signal input, a parking light input, and they all share those inputs in common. Now, where they differ would be probably where it correlates in price as well. So the V5 Ghozt sequencer, I think, is about like $50 to $60. CorsoMotion is, to be honest, I don't even remember what I paid. I think they're like $25 maybe. So let's say 40% to 50% of the price. Again, so with that difference, you're getting the ability to control twice as many outputs of LEDs from the Ghozt board, and it also comes with a show mode, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But talking about that specifically now, another thing that the Ghozt board has is it has up to 8 individual 12 volt outputs. So both these boards need 12 volts to power them on for them to even function, and then the Ghozt board gives you kind of a convenience factor of 8 individual 12 volt outputs that you can power other accessories on theoretically. You can't really control them or anything like you can in the blue Ghozt board, but it's just extra power outputs to run to other accessories inside the headlight or in the engine bay, instead of tapping off your battery or power block or anything like that. So the other main difference, right, would be to change the sequencing of the Ghozt board, you need to hook it up to a computer using and program it using something like a Picket 3 programming device. So it's a little bit more involved. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, both these devices have their pros and cons. For the CorsoMotion board, however, you can change different functionalities just on this little circuit board and toggling the switches on the back. So it's on the fly. Another thing to notice is well, actually it's about the same. I was going to say the CorsoMotion, you can also have like your brake signal strobe based on the series that you have set here on the switches, but that's actually true for the Ghozt module as well. Alright, so what we've done here is we've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 LEDs. They're 12 volt LEDs. These are the XLED 40 milliamp LEDs. That's what they each run at. You can use the unique LEDs. Any 12 volt LED will work. So that being said, I've wired 12 of them up to the 18 possible outputs on this CorsoMotion board. So what we'll do is we'll see what happens when we power each input. So this is the turn input. So in this mode, they basically all light up full brightness. This is the brake. Same concept. Brake and the turn signal look exactly the same. They're doing the same exact thing. This is the parking lights. You see they're running at a fraction of the amperage. And I know that because I'm looking at the meter over here, and you can see that 120 milliamps are being pulled right now. Now if we look, when we put the brake back on, 520. So let's see what happens if the parking and light input is on and then the brake triggers. Sorry, it's not the brake, this is the turn signal. So you can see with the turn signal, it does a switch back. The parking light input goes off and the turn signal input turns on. With the brake, there's no switchback delay. It's just parking to brake. And what I'll do is put a little bit of a diffuser across this to see if that helps with maybe the video, so it's not as harsh. See what that does. Parking, brake. Alright, now let's see what happens when we start toggling switches. And I'm sure there's a diagram on their website. All I did there was hit the first switch up. Let's see what happens. Turn signal, still the same. Brake, still the same. Parking. So there, parking light is different, which obviously that's no good for parking lights. I guess this is more of a show mode. So this is maybe how CorsoMotion lets you somewhat control show modes. Alright, so let's do one back down. Let's just put two up. Go through them again. Turn, solid. Brake, solid. Parking. So it looks like that does nothing. That's kind of the same as all of them being down. The third one up. Turn, solid. So there, with the third one up, your brake does a quick little strobe. So let's see what that looks like with the parking lights on, and then triggering the brake. Interesting. Alright, let's put 3 back down. Let's just put 4 up. Turn signal. Alright, so now we're getting something different. Turn signal. Brake. Parking. Okay. Put 4 down, let's only put 5 up. See what that does. Turn signal. Brake. Parking. Alright, put them all down. Let's put 6 up. turn signal. Brake. Parking. Alright, let's put 5 and 6 up. Turn signal. Brake. And parking. Let's do 4, 5, and 6 up. Turn signal. So that changed. Looks like some of my output wires are touching here now because you can see the N LEDs are lighting up. There we go. Brake. And parking. Actually have those reversed. Parking. Brake. Alright, let's do 3, 4, 5, and 6. Turn signal. Brake. So we're back to the strobe on the brake. And parking. Alright. All of them are up except number 1. Turn signal. Brake. Parking. Alright. Put them all up. Turn signal. Brake. Parking. Kind of interesting that there's a combination that kind of makes the parking input just flash back and forth. I really wonder if that's their ad hoc show mode. So let's just start making these all random, see what happens. There we're back to normal turn signal. Alright, so there's also a dial on here which adjusts the turn signal speed. The Ghozt module does it automatically, it syncs it. But let's turn this to the left and see what happens. Looks like it's going faster. Turn it a couple more turns. How's that for a turn signal? Just turn it to the right block. Alright, so cool stuff, right? It's just a matter of knowing, I guess, what each of these switches does. Each one of these combinations. Alright, I think what we can do is maybe we'll move on to the Ghozt on the next video. These one thing I didn't mention is each of these boards, the Ghozt and the CorsoMotion, can actually handle up to 300 milliamps per channel. These LEDs are only running 40 milliamps, so you can use a much brighter LED. So maybe what we can do is wire up, you know, some of these other LEDs we got that theoretically can be 5 times as bright. Play with them, and we'll see. We'll you know, go over kind of how to do that, I guess, because again, we'll have to compensate for. These are only 2.4 volts, I believe, so we'll have to make them run on 12 volts since that's what the board's expecting. All right, till next time.